Lining up for Blacktown in goal number 1, Tristan Hendon. Number 17 is Dakota Askew. Number 19, Adam Burry. Number 23, Daniel Bragg. Number 12, Lachlan Campbell. Number 9, Joey Gibbs. Number 11, Emmanuel Gonzalez. Number 22, Leroy James. Number 6, Matthew Lewis. Number 5, Grant Lynch. Number 15, Mason Stewart. Substitutes for Blacktown. Number 3, Daniel Collins. Number 16, Dale Howard. Number 20, Dylan Zinsky. Number 14, Harry Smith. Referee is Mr. Wiener, assisted by Mr. Yen and Mr. Greenfield. Our fourth official is Mr. Benson White. Blacktown team, coached by
Good evening and welcome to your Saturday night NPL New South Wales Men's Clash, the first of several games this evening. My name is Nate Patrick, here to take you through Sutherland Sharks and Blacktown City FC. A very important encounter for both sides, perhaps for two different reasons. Sutherland on this unbeaten streak, attempting to get into the top 5. Blacktown City have not ruled out a title challenge. Here is Sutherland's captain, Mark Warren. The early ball down the line. Well, kept in play, Lokalingoi just behind him. Blacktown able to get it clear. That was one of the new lads, Antonio, making that run down the left-hand side. It will be interesting to see how he and Warren get on, communicate as the night progresses. We all know Mark Warren, apart from being a bit of a character, loves to push up that left-hand side. Here's Benet, little 1-2 with Warren. Happy to hold it up on this occasion. This is McGing, another one of these players who's come across mid-season. And there's the left wing back, Mark Warren, into the area. Antonio touch takes him inside, back out to Warren we go. Ball a little too heavy for Bay Antonio, but a very enterprising start to this encounter. Sutherland have every reason to be confident. 7 games unbeaten now. They've had the last 2 away from home. Antonio getting a little caught up. Back to Warren. Benet. Happy to play it wide. Polyak spreads it further still. What a comeback it was for the Sharks last week. Apia Leichhardt taking that 2-0 early lead. Sutherland showing they're made of sterner stuff than earlier on in the season. It's points like that on the road could be the difference between finals football or not. This is Lokalingoi, unable to release the ball. Touch not intended. Lokalingoi in a bit of space on the edge of the area. Touches it wide, but the player to his right is offside. Quentin Cheng making the big run. A few members of the crowd just wanting their star striker to take it first time. As for Blacktown, interchanging of positions already for them. Looking at the top of the pitch, their front men more than happy to rotate. Joey Gibbs leading the line at the beginning of this match. He's now dropped slightly deeper, and it is he who heads this ball on. Warren making a nuisance of himself, doing well. Leroy Jennings protesting for the corner. The corner it will be. Gonzalez, Jennings, Gibbs. 3 of those players involved. It's been their almost telepathic understanding that's gotten them so many goals this season. And of course, add that to the second meanest defense of NPL New South Wales football. That's why they find themselves in 3rd position. The corner swung in near post. Easily bunted away. Matt Lewis happy to go all the way back to Prendergast. Campbell to Askew. Right back, wanting to go forward, unable to. Excellent defending, you have to say, by Sutherland. Unfortunately for them, Skatadis unable to keep it in play. Ball coming last off Liam McGing. What's amazed quite a few observers of NPL New South Wales is that manager has his new signings fitting into their system almost immediately. Lokalingwe, a fine example, scoring in his first match for his new side. Askew inside to Gibbs. Gibbs with a few to beat. Looking for Jennings. Jennings cannot keep that ball in play. It will be a throw-in to Sutherland. Just on that comment before, credit has to go to Terry Palapanis for getting his squad training diligently, working together, working the attacking combinations. And here's Lokalingwe. It's going to hold up for him. He takes it past the keeper, goes inside the area, goes to ground. Referee immediately pointing for a penalty. Defender trying to get himself in the way. It was, unfortunately for him, not in between the ball and the goal. It was in between Lokalingwe and the ball. No surprises who will be the man to take this penalty. It was the genteel pass backwards that held up on this surface. Lokalingwe, always wanting to break through that defensive line, got the first touch, and it's not going to be Lokalingwe to take the penalty. He's been waved away. Raul Benet. C. Romero steps up. Was there ever any doubt? He's a man in form. Sutherland are a team in form. And they take the very early 1-0 lead over Blacktown. Suffice to say, that's exactly what the home support have come here to see tonight. Their star striker, Lokalingwe, bursting through, wanting that football more than any of the Blacktown defenders. Can the team in third respond? This is Nathan Denham on the ball. Unfortunately, for Sutherland, Anthony Bazanis having, I believe, appendix surgery, keeping him out of the team. Nathan Denham's cameo extended for the time being. Lovely switch of play to this left-hand side for Blacktown. Jersey holding it up, happy to go backwards. Sutherland getting numbers to that side of the pitch. It's going to have to come across for Blacktown. Space for Askew on this right-hand side. Fullback begging for it, now receives the ball. Gonzalez lets this run. Able to keep it in play, perhaps. No, it will be Sutherland goal kick. Sutherland manager Palapinas just on the edge of his area there, talking to Mark Warren. Warren looking back at his manager there. That message hasn't quite been communicated. Now, Mark Warren, I believe it's about the midfielders. Trying to play with a midfield three, perhaps. Denham very cool and calm. Playing it out from the back. Challenge from behind. Doesn't bother Skatadis, who looks for Lokalengo's run. Unfortunately for him, was coming towards him. Campbell out to Askew. Askew wants Gonzalez. Goes instead towards Gibbs, who wasn't expecting it. Bit of an up and under. Antonio in the back and then taken out by Askew. The end of that little interchange, you have to say. Well played by Antonio. Positioning himself under the football, making sure it was his. Polyak wants the restart back to Mark Warren, who again is talking with his manager. One of the benefits of Mark Warren being a left back, I guess. Lokalengo trying the fanciful flick. Chang unable to read his rung. Warren, this time perfectly positioned in defence. Wins it the second time. It falls kindly for Blacktown. Lovely little dribble here. Is there a shot at the end of it? It comes near post. Goes just past the aforementioned post. Perhaps dangerous signs there. Leroy Jennings, full of confidence. Lokalengo chests it down to get this play started for Sutherland. Benet out to the right-hand side. Quinton Cheng playing a lot further forward than we're used to seeing him. He takes this throw in quickly. Polyak. Back to Cheng to Benet, who is full of running in these early stages. Slightly heavy touch. Skatadis losing the football. Inevitable foul following that. Antonio once more. Slightly heavy touch from Askew. Gets a little bit fortunate, collects the foul. Skatadis once again involved. Warren intercepts that football. Benet, beautiful first touch, and now Lokalengo timed his run well. Unfortunately for him, comically that ball hitting him on the back. When you're too quick for your own good, perhaps. Gibbs plays his pass through the line. It's a little heavy, easy for Nathan Denham to collect. Now, don't let me say this as a criticism. It does look like almost a 5 at the back for Sutherland at times. Mentioned Cheng very high up the pitch, so is Mark Warren. Made a little quip about him being a left wing back. Could be exactly what he is tonight. Those 3 fingers of their manager maybe signalling the 3 centre backs. You've got Lokalingoi, Benar, and Antonio as a front 3. Skatatis and Polyak as your midfield 2. Very interesting to see if this shape continues. Meanwhile, Blacktown trying to get something started of their own in a much more conventional 4-2-3-1. As discussed, Gibbs will interchange with his attacking mids. But for now, Benet plays it out to this right-hand side. Cheng back towards Benet, the header on goal. Not on target. Lovely little attacking play, however. Benet back to Warren. Ball inside. Saw his man. Mark Warren, of course, one of the few players this evening who's been in the NPL New South Wales Team of the Week on several occasions lately, including last week, as he got himself back on the A-League radar, perhaps. Captain Warren. Out to Benet. McGing happy to spread this wide. Cheng now held up. It's a lot of running for this midfield too of Skatatis primarily doing the defensive work, but Polyak no doubt will be contributing also. Can their motors continue to run throughout the 90 minutes? A few promising names on the bench for Sutherland should they wish to make a sub. For now, the 11 on the pitch will continue to try to click Warren, not reading that pass. Berry trying to break for Blacktown. There's a man at the back stick. Jennings a little over his right shoulder. He's got Gonzalez inside. Gonzalez now looking for the 1-2, but his pass does not connect. You can see Sutherland able immediately to go up the other end of the pitch with the front 2 or 3 at times. Turnover from Lokalingoi means Blacktown back on the attack. Bragg. Out to Askew. Berry into the middle, but those 3 centre-backs of Sutherland able to repel the attack. Good period of possession this for Blacktown. Need to find their footing in this game. Jennings playing it wide to the left. Quite a few bodies in the middle if they want to play the cross. Eventually it is forthcoming, dinked up towards the back stick. Mark Warren rises highest. Jennings looking to take on Benet, does so well. It's all a little sideways for Blacktown at present. Lachlan Campbell, another one of those Team of the Week players. Askew down the line, Gonzalez. Now Blacktown are back in their own half. Bragg switching the point of attack. You just see the Sutherland defense shifting to the side of the field. The ball's on. As soon as the play slows down, they get back and set, ready to defend. Means there's a bit of space for Gonzalez on the right-hand side, if they can get it there quickly enough. Gibbs doing well to hold it up. Askew back to his centre back under pressure. Antonio not able to win the football. Now they come forward. Gonzalez met all the way by Liam McGing. Askew looking for Gibbs. The pass is heavy. Gibbs' touch is heavy, and it's just not happening for Blacktown as it stands. They themselves on a 5-game undefeated streak. Back and across, Lynch now coming forward. He's had enough of the lack of movement up front, perhaps. It is quite a crisp Saturday evening. An earlier thunderstorm maybe kept away one or two fans, but we are now really in perfect conditions for football. So much space on this right-hand side. Adam Berry doesn't want to play the pass. Askew has to run back. Lovely little dummy. Goes through the left, kept in play. The cross, not quite heavy enough. Will be a Blacktown throw-in. Still coming forward, Blacktown. The ball across the area. Well cut out by Liam McGing initially. And now the little counter-attack. Lokalingoi wants the support of his midfielders. Maybe Quinton Chang. That early goal has really dictated the tone of affairs. When Sutherland hold on to the football, it's sensible holding their 1-0 lead when Blacktown are doing it. Feels stifled. It feels like there's not a lot of space there for them to play through. They are going to need to force the issue. Dare I say, a draw, not really what either side have in mind tonight, particularly perhaps Sutherland. Start off this evening, 8 points out of finals contention. If Blacktown cannot win this evening and Wollongong Wolves pick up their 10th win of their campaign, almost be willing to say that's Blacktown out of the title race. Plenty of football left to play this evening. Get our NPL New South Wales men's football underway for round 15. Jennings asking for it back. Bragg does not oblige. Versi not able to get a lot of football, coughs that one up. Lokalingoi with the hold-up play. Pressure coming now. Denham will have to clear, does so. Up towards Antonio, who's happy to let the centre-back take the first touch. Nice and easy for Dakota Askew to play back to his keeper. Prendergast immediately saying, get it away from here. McGing again the one to cut out the ball. His clearance going out of play. Good header one initially. Mark Warren tidying things up. Denham once again, first time just to get it away from trouble. Warren missing everything other than his opponent. Free kick to Blacktown. Goes back to start things off. Berry for the big switch to the left-hand side. Oshan yet to probably mark his man, does so now. Just not a lot of room in midfield at all. Forced really to go wide, Blacktown. Reluctant to cross that ball in. It means they keep going back and across. Good pressure from Lokalingwe. Starts off the counter-attack. Lokalingwe has Antonio in the middle. Decides to play it short. It's a little bit in behind. Excellent tackle made by Grant Lynch. Will just be a corner. I believe it was Quinton Cheng making that run inside, coming up from that right wing back position. Lokalingwe playing it a little in behind him. No surprises to see. Captain Fantastic Mark Warren taking the corner. He plays it short towards the back stick. Then the acrobatic area just over the crossbar. Never looked on until it did. Dipping late. Prendergast saw it all the way. Moving forward slowly, Blacktown. Berry to Askew, back to Berry. Strong test from Gibbs. Unable to find a teammate. Mark Warren watches that one out. Gibbs wants his team to start the press. He's able to do enough to force Denham to get it out of his own area. Clever touch again from Gibbs. Warren has hands on him. Referee waves play on. We've seen this big switch to the left-hand side. Often it just gets held up. Versi looking for the 1-2. Ball into the area. Well defended. Sutherland able to get it clear, but that's a lot more encouraging for Blacktown. Sometimes it really is just a simple 1-2. That's all you need to shift those defenders out of place. Whatever it is, it's going to need to come at a greater intensity than what we've seen for most of this first half. Plenty of possession for Blacktown. Not a lot of it in a dangerous area as far as they're concerned. Oshan happy to play it back. McGing shanks his clearance. Right onto the grandstand. Not sure if that one's coming back. Askew's throw is towards Gibbs. Eventually finds its way through to Jennings, who can only foul his opponent. Chang does well to head that on, unfortunately for him. Lokalingoi not ready in position. Lovely footwork to hold on to the ball. Finds Antonio, who lets it run onto his left foot. Antonio trying to turn his fullback. Little dink cross. Not quite heavy enough. Prendergast claims it. Immediately get the play underway. Maybe it is on the break that Blacktown could find a bit more luck. Manny Gonzalez beaten to the ball. McGing doing enough to get it out of play, and Gonzalez will take this corner kick rather for Blacktown. Just to take the mickey, leaves that one. Mason Versey with the left foot. Versey, decent looking delivery, header on, hits the feet of Denham. Must have come off hands. Referee seems to think so. Not too many protests from the Blacktown players. It was a good looking delivery from Mason Versey. The Palapanis chats continue. Now it's Bay Antonio's turn. It's a very unconventional system that they're playing, no doubt. Requires every player to be at their most disciplined to pull it off. At the moment, it is Sutherland looking most comfortable. Getting plenty of bodies behind the ball. Hitting well on the break. Little counter-attack here, though. Sensational challenge. Patrick O'Shea might not have had a lot to do so far this evening. Timed his tackle to perfection. Mark Warren's back for another chat. I'm not sure if this is one message that just is yet to be communicated, but never seen a manager communicate with his players during a match like we have already tonight. Benet, as Chang doesn't want him, eventually a little bit of a grab on the jersey forces him down. Referee saying first and final warning. Has done well to let this game flow this evening, to be fair to both sides. Been trying to play nice football, not been a lot of fouls to speak of. A little surprising not to see Warren taking this delivery. Maybe he fancies getting on the end of it. It is towards Mark Warren. His flick header well over the crossbar, but credit to the Sutherland captain. He was perfectly positioned. Antonio, ball inside. Skatatis looking for it, not getting it. McGing, awkward looking clearance. This time the challenge from Skatatis a little too heavy. Maybe frustrated he didn't receive that ball from his teammates earlier. Dakota Askew and Manny Gonzalez standing over it. The latter running away. Little chipped delivery towards the penalty spot. Last coming off a Blacktown player, goal kick, Sutherland. McGing initially running into a bit of trouble, does well to get it away. Warren's touch inside, giving that football away. Bragg, still going Bragg before he's taken down again from Skatatis. That will surely be his final warning. He did just make that foul earlier. That one was a little more out of control than the last. So we start to get towards the end of the first half. Can Blacktown find the equaliser? Mason Versey standing over the free kick. Maybe a little too far out to go direct. Header onwards from a Sutherland defender, easily claimed by Denham. One of the benefits of playing with three centre-backs, a bit more aerial presence. Can really help out with set pieces at both ends of the park. Chang getting stuck in and winning it well. Not a lot of width on offer for Sutherland, so they go through the middle initially. Lokalingoi eventually claiming that ball. Happy to spread out to Chang on the right-hand side. Touches it down for Benet. Back to Chang. Chang taking his man on superbly. Quinton Chang has the delivery. It's no good. Fortunately for Sutherland, clearance straight at Benet. They go again, Polyak. Asking for it back, receives it now. Skatatis, the spread to this near touchline. Mark Warren only sees black jerseys. Jerry Skatatis already looking right at home in shark blue. Eventually able to force it clear. Cheng always looking to take his player on. Eventually really tripping over his own feet and then just gets up. Puts the shoulder on his opponent. Bit of frustration rather from the Sutherland number 2. Plenty of space for Askew on the right-hand side, making his run up from right back, but the ball never looked like finding him. Fortunately for Lachlan Campbell, yet to find his passing range out from the back. Lokalingoi, first time, finds Benet, takes on the strike. Excellent save from Prendergast, who hasn't had a lot to do so far this evening. But he's done that particularly well. A little bit worrying if you're a Blacktown supporter, all the space that Raul Benet had to play into. The end of it really hitting his strike just a little too close to the Blacktown keeper. Berry reads this perfectly out to Versey on the left-hand side. Versi trying to stand up his man. Oshan maybe showing a little bit too much rigor. Cheng as well, both getting stuck in. Tariq Oshan reluctantly giving up that football. Yet another set piece just outside the area. Centre backs forward for Blacktown. Ball swung in. Gibbs! Lovely little effort. Cannot keep it down once more, however. Nathan Denham just stands and watches. Over the crossbar once more. Blacktown starting to inch closer to an equaliser. Little turnover from Adam Berry. And the counter-attack immediately. Skatardis on the left-hand side. Wants to show it back onto his right foot. Does so. Dre Skatardis! Just over the crossbar. In fact, Prendergast may have even got fingertips to it. A beautiful driving, curling effort. Just touched over the crossbar. Let's give Prendergast the credit for the save. That's all it was for making it 2-0. Warren this time to take the in-swinger. It's straight down the throat of Prendergast. That effort from Skatardis. Exactly what we were talking about earlier. Tori Palapinas able to make his new signings feel right at home. Their immediate impact, a reason why Sutherland have found themselves out of the bottom two. Looking towards a top 5 position. Wakalingoy putting the pressure on Prendergast. It's all part of the modern game. Goalkeepers liking to play it out from the back, but Charles Wakalingoy sniffed out that opportunity. No Sutherland player able to get on that one. Oshan misses it. Chance for Blacktown perhaps. Excellent tidying up. Patrick O'Shea, we mentioned, not a lot to do in this game. That's a sign of a good centre-back when called upon, ready to respond. Fantastic midfield work. Adam Berry not letting that one go, although it is now initially turned over. Foul called. Has been taken quickly. Not sure if few Sutherland players realise this. Jennings running at his man. Mark Warren gets the first block in. Jennings with the touch, but it's back towards Shark Blue shirts. Benet. Lovely footwork, and then the pass inside to find Antonio. Benet gets it back now. Cheng with not a lot of friends in which to play football with, forced to go back towards the middle. That sprayed pass. Unable to find Antonio. Versi now on this right-hand side, wanting to take his man on. McGinn comes to help out. Now Antonio. Charging down this left-hand side. Still going by Antonio to a good-looking position. Benet hadn't quite made his run to that area. The clearance forced out of play. Some quite frightening pace in this Sutherland unit now. The 5-2-3 system really enabling those players to express themselves. Mind you, Antonio now bending over, sucking in the deep breaths. He doesn't even want this ball. He's got the hand out saying, I need a breather. Charles, please. So he spreads it out to the right-hand side. Chang, who we know is going to take his player on, driving into the area. Back to Benet. All the way back to Oshan. Antonio again not able to get to that ball. He looks like he's breathing a little heavily. Versey met by McGing and Warren. McGing with a back heel, hoping to find Warren. Versey's not giving up on it. Eventually, Warren's challenge results in the turnover. Benet, some delightful 1-2 passing. Benet still going. Give it to him, Lokalingoi. He does so. The left-hand cut back. Prendergast stretches out and saves it. Some of these Sutherland players surely looking for the oxygen tank, even just at half-time. They're running themselves into the ground. It really is beautiful to watch. Credit to Blacktown, though. They've kept it to 1-0, and it is just 1 minute of additional time. Dink ball forward. Once again, McGing under it. Not to mention Tristan Prendergast. Some clutch saves by the Blacktown number 1. Really keeping his side in the game. Maybe Blacktown can find a way in the second half to get back into it. Some tiring Sutherland legs, perhaps. Or maybe a wonder strike just before half-time. It's very ambitious from Gonzalez. That surely means it will just be 1-0 at the break. That will be it for the opening stanza here at Seymour Shore. An early penalty. Lokalingoi taken down. The resultant penalty buried by Raul Benet. Some exciting breaks, a few chances, but at the end of it, no more goals just yet. And so, at halftime, it is Sutherland Sharks 1, Blacktown City FC 0. Good evening and welcome back to the second half of your main Saturday night NPL New South Wales men's first grade clash. We're of course at Seymour Shaw Park for Sutherland Sharks versus Blacktown City FC. It's the former who lead 1-0. We're straight into it with Lokalingoi taking on his man before he's just collected. Lachlan Campbell giving him no room to move. No yellow card produced by the referee. A few Sutherland players maybe suggesting they thought there should have been one. There has been a half-time substitution. Jeremy Cox coming onto the pitch. Tarek Ershan coming off, which of course means a change to that system we've been talking about so much in the first half. Back to a 4 at the back, you would assume. We'll find out the rest as we progress throughout this second half. It's Mark Warren taking the free kick. It's very deep. As quick as Lokalingoi is, he's never getting on the end of that one. May well be a much more conventional 4-2-3-1 from the home side. Skatadis winning that well. Lokalingoi. Lovely little drag back to hold on to the football. Cox's first touch is good. Lokalingoi getting the attention of 2 or 3. Gets past them. Cox retains the ball. Polyak spreading it to the left. It's well over Antonio. His first time pass finds Warren. Warren happy to go all the way back. Little 1-2. Mark Warren still going. Once again, happy just to hold it up, Antonio. Now Crumbs across. Benet wants it. Instead, it's the little cheeky reverse ball, and then the shot on target is blocked. Once again, Cox shaping to shoot. Can't find Cheng on the overlap. Benet with a crunching challenge on Versi. Naskatadis was getting a little tug back on his jersey. Referee happy to let it run. First time ball from Gibbs, unable to find Versi. We'll go all the way back to Nathan Denham. Askew reading that beautifully. Ball towards the front post, easily cleared away. Come in for seconds, towards the middle. McGing that time, rising highest. Matt Lewis wants the return pass. He's not going to get it. In a bit of space and with the shot, Versi. Always rising. Interesting that Terry Palapinas would change that formation that looked like it had, at the very least, Blacktown cancelled out or subdued in the first half. Maybe he wants his team to really press on, get a second. Did see Blacktown City manager Mark Crittenden speaking with the referees as they were walking into the tunnel. Clearly unhappy with a few of the decisions. Berry happy to go backwards as well. Lynch is asking for it on the left side of his fellow centre back. Through the right we go. Lovely footwork initially. Little layoff as well. Little dink ball as easily claimed in the end by Denham, but this is already a bit better than for Blacktown, rather. We've talked about how the front four like to interchange positions, and really, due in part to some good Sutherland defending, they've not had the link up we've seen in past weeks. Maybe that will start to change. Lynch now able to play it to Lewis. Bragg does get the foul. Looked like he perhaps ran into his own teammate in Versey. A little bit of Quentin Cheng involved. There's been a few of these for Blacktown tonight. A free kick too far away from the goal to strike it, but perfectly placed for some quality delivery and a flick-on header. It's going to be Emmanuel Gonzalez standing over the ball. He does just that, drifting it in. Sutherland with a half clearance. The shot on goal. Very ambitious. Askew it was with his left foot as well. Long ball from McGing towards Lokalingoi, but he's left to chase after the ball. Prendergast. Decent build up here from Blacktown. Versey keeps it in play, skips past Cheng. Versey still inside the area. How's the cutback? It's good. The shot on goal is not. Adam Berry, the left-footed effort. Leaning back on it. What excellent work that was by Mason Versey on the near touchline. Going past Cheng and then also McGing all the way to the byline. Cutback was perfect as well. Needed better from his teammate. Flick header for Versey again. Cheng this time gets ahead of his man. Not sure if the substitution at halftime for Sutherland was perhaps enforced. What wasn't was the system change. And it looks like Blacktown are a lot more comfortable facing up to the conventional four-man defense. They're going to attack again here. Excellent interception from Cheng. Races away for a corner kick. Every single Sutherland Sharks player defending this corner. No doubt they would take a 1-0 victory here tonight. Depending on other results, could get them up above Olympic into 8th. Meanwhile, near post, cleared away. Back across we go. Very well read. Potential counter-attack, but Benet's ball unable to find Antonio. Bragg doing very well to do his defensive duties. Now Blacktown again. Collected by Mark Warren, I believe, is the call by the referee. Indeed, just outside the penalty area, right after the cross was taken. Means yet another free kick to Blacktown in a dangerous looking situation. And indeed, the travelling fans from Blacktown to Seymour Shore are starting to find their voice. Very quiet in the first half. Could you blame them? In the second half, got the drums out. They can sense the opportunity for their side. Driven in near post. Straight out of play for a goal kick. Nathan Denham happy to watch that. It's the outside of his own net. Under pressure here on his unfavoured right foot. Does well to get that away, does Denham. Benet inventive. Too far away from Quinton Chang. Sutherland really having to sit back and absorb the pressure early on in the second half. Lewis calmly back to Lynch. Gonzalez was chasing it. Denham reasonably comfortable. You see the front four of Sutherland playing extremely narrowly. Plenty of space for the Blacktown fullbacks to push on. Ball ends up popping into space. Lokalingoi decides to pick it up. No one else wanted it. And now Sutherland counter-attack against only 5 or so defenders. Ball's played through. Ball back across is well cut out by Grant Lynch. Campbell can't get there. Will be a throw in. Mark Warren sizes up to pump this one in. Wants the corner kick. Referee says it's just a throw in, Mark. Does have a decent throw in him, Mark Warren, if he wants to pump it long. Looking for Lokalingoi. Doesn't find him. Sutherland able to recycle this play. Liam McGing not liking what he sees. Denham to Chang. Gonzalez contesting it. Lokalingoi doing brilliantly to hold that up. He does have 4 to beat. Eventually gives up on it. Matt Lewis with the challenge. Lovely touch forward. Jennings unable to get clear, being held up. Wins the free kick for his side. And in news, no Sutherland fan wants to see Mark Warren still down on this far touchline. Referee signals over to the physio to come and help him out. As we talked about in the first half, Mark Warren, a return visitor of the NPL New South Wales Team of the Week. He's getting stuck in, leading his side. Accepting responsibility for some of those poor results earlier on in the season. But similarly delighted with how his team's been playing in recent weeks. Be an awful shame if he's not able to continue tonight. He's up and hobbling. Meanwhile, Blacktown City. This would have to be almost their 10th free kick from in and around this area. So far, Sutherland have done enough to repel. That delivery nowhere near good enough. Nathan Denham not even having to move. Skatadis under pressure. Wanted Mark Warren. Mark Warren's not back on the pitch yet. Now he is. Takes his position. Berry calling for a short is ignored. Bragg trying to start off the play for his side. Coming deep to receive the ball. Grant Lynch has Lewis on the touchline. Matt Lewis, a few jeers from the crowd coming in his direction as he takes that touch out of play. Lokalingoi. Once again, the hold-up play from Charles Lokalingoi. Exceptional. We often talk about his ability to burst through the defensive line. He's extremely quick for such a tall player. Bay Antonio takes the cross first time. No one was expecting it, but unfortunately for the home team, that includes his teammates. Excellent pressure from Quinton Chang to win this ball straight back. Looking for the cutback to Lokalingoi. Benet trying to play the 1-2. Instead goes to Chang. Hits that first time across the area. It's still alive for Sutherland. A save onto the post from Prendergast. It's as good as you'll ever see. Still alive here, Chang. Back to Lokalingoi. The shot blocked gratefully into the arms of Tristan Prendergast, who moments earlier made an absolutely brilliant fingertip save, diving to his right, getting it onto his own woodwork. Sutherland so close to making it 2-0, and indeed on that occasion and several others tonight, it's just been Tristan Prendergast in the way. Manny Gonzalez. Heavy touch, cleared comfortably by Polyak. Ball forward, looking for Gibbs. First time touch by the defender. Up in the air, O'Shea. Gibbs unable to claim it on the second attempt. Little flick on, unable to find Benet. Bit of nervousness sweeping across the ground. This is a very different half from what we saw in that first stanza. Meanwhile, Daniel Collins warming up for Blacktown. McGing under pressure, gets it away, but only into space. He was collected a little late. A hand raised in apology by Manny Gonzalez. A substitution is going to be that man coming off. Gonzalez pretending like he didn't see it, perhaps. He's off now, replaced by Daniel Collins. Gonzalez just not able to find his way into this match. Blacktown bench unhappy with some of these decisions. I believe that was a throw-in for their side. Lokalingoi in the corner. Just gets the head down, bangs it into the area. That's about as clear a handball as you will see. Bragg protesting. Might have come off his thigh and then up onto his arm. I'm not quite sure, but the extension of his arm away from his body and then the contact, at least from my position, looked quite clear. The referee seems to agree. This free kick is close enough for a strike on goal. Delivery over the wall. Maybe coming off part of the wall indeed for a corner kick. Mateo Poliak sizing that one up. Tensions starting to get high here at Seymour Shore. Mark Crittenden a little quiet in that first half. Extremely vocal along with the rest of his technical team here in the second. Meanwhile, Mark Warren, decent looking delivery. Lokalingoi, Prendergast again, denying the Sutherland front man. Now the follow-up strike. I'm not sure who the deflection's off. It's gone just past the far post. Indeed, it was a Sutherland player. The crowd rising as run, seeing the deflection, realizing Prendergast had been sent the wrong way, unfortunately, for these home fans. Their wait for a second goal continues. It's tense. Gibbs getting up highest, flicking it on. McGing well positioned. Once again onto that grandstand. New man Collins, happy to keep it calm to start things off. Bragg. Back to Lynch. Matt Lewis. Blacktown get the benefit of that throw-in decision. Now here's Collins, spreading it beautifully to the right-hand side. Darting in field and then the strike. Down Denham. Deflecting everywhere. Eventually, I believe, coming back off Bragg. And out for a goal kick. Bragg's racing over to try and collect that ball. Get play back underway. Clearly, Blacktown City don't believe they're out of this contest. Of course, it is just the one goal that still separates these sides. Early penalty to Raul Benet. It's not to say we haven't come close. Blacktown on a few occasions. And then, of course, Sutherland, most fresh in the memory. Only to be denied by Prendergast. And a few of their strikes drifting past the woodwork. Jordan Mofitis warming up. He's got a smile on his face, which is good to see, but goodness me, does he have a job to do to ensure Sutherland get maximum points from this game. Long searching ball to this right-hand side. Versi with a lot to do, unable to do it. Warren happy to take that throw in quickly. Antonio's touch, a little ungainly. That was Collins trying to burst through the middle. To his credit, regains it on the second attempt. Big run through the middle. Again, this time it's Campbell. Campbell fouling Benet after losing possession. That will give Sutherland a chance to bring on more fetus. Antonio, who has done so much running, getting a well-earned break. One of many players in this Sutherland side that have looked right at home from the get-go. He can be very happy with his spell. High 10 and a hug from his manager. Applause from the crowd. Now it's time for Morphetus. Immediate swap, taking up that left attacking mid position. Meanwhile, Blacktown on the break. Jennings has three chasing after him. Cuts it back to his right-hand side. Ball inside eventually, coming off O'Shea. Cries of handball, not to be. Chang the old up and under. Benet going down a little easily. Daniel Collins, maybe just with a bit of an arm in the back. One feels there's a twist in this tale still to come. Plenty of action, and now it's Chang. Lokalingoi trying to create the space, enabling Chang to run on through. Too many bodies at the end of the day. Plenty of space in this vacant right back position if Blacktown can get it there quick enough. Very under pressure. That's all backwards for Blacktown. Ball still in play. Warren able to pass it across to O'Shea. Denham towards Cox, who does well to head it back to his teammate in Benet. Cox, who's not had a lot to do since coming on. Chang, a massive switch to the new man, Monfetus, whose first touch eludes him. Now a potential counter. There's a ball on through the middle, not seen. Bragg making a bursting run from midfield. In fact, it was Leroy Jennings. Bragg now back in defensive midfield. 22 and 23. Lynch-Lewis combination in full effect. Collins. Lovely footwork here from Leroy Jennings. There's just so many defenders for him to try and get through. Here is Bragg. Playing it out to the right-hand side. Askew. Trying to skip past his man, unable to do so. Sizes it up with the left foot. Straight into the defender. Not able to be kept in play, however, Askew will get the throw in. Strike from distance from Collins. Very speculative effort. Ball just staying within the confines of the ground. Another substitution to be made. Dale Howarth, the man to come onto the pitch. Versey, who's just not had the end product tonight. Plenty of running, plenty of ambition. That's all it shall be. Makes his way from the pitch. Cox with a deft first touch. Trying to keep it in play. Eventually, Studs getting caught up in between the boots of Lewis and Cox. Not intentional. Anyone who's played more than a game of outdoor will have experienced that at some point. Chang, a little flick on. Difficult one for Monfetus to get a hold of. Clever little dummy. Blacktown urgently trying to go up the other end of the pitch. It's a good line, though, from Sutherland. Jennings making his run a little too early. Chang looking across first at his fellow defenders. Then at the linesman to say, we've got it spot on this time. Build up breaking down for Sutherland. Again, they just haven't looked as confident in this second half. Lokalingoi with half a metre of space. His shot well over the crossbar too. It's been the pattern for most of this evening. A lot of the strikes always going up off the boot. McGing happy to send that one into touch. Now it's Bragg inside for Jennings. Skipping through merrily. Claims for handball, not heeded. He comes in from behind to try and win the ball back. Takes out Quinton Cheng in the process. Header from O'Shea is good to Polyak. Benet plays it through to Cox. Cox back to Lokalingoi onto the left foot, then on the right. It's excellent defending initially from Blacktown. Warren and Lokalingoi getting in a bit of a tangle. Lokalingoi takes over, back to the edge of the area, and into the back of the net. The crowd erupts, and so they should. Sutherland Sharks never giving up on it. A perfect substitution by Terry Palapanis. Jordan Morphetus with the golden touch. That makes it 2-0. What brilliant build-up play. Charles Lokalingoi, normally goal scorer, turns goal provider. Morphetus perfectly positioned. Gets it home. An unlikely comeback for Blacktown City. Just became even more so. Mark Crittenden pensive on the sideline. All of a sudden, it looks like Sutherland full of running. We'd mentioned how hard they'd gone in that first half. So many sprints in particular by their front men. When it mattered most, they were clinical. Jordan Morfitas. Johnny on the spot. Well spread to Quentin Sheng. He has Cox making a run, decides to ignore him. Back to Polyak, a lovely little turn back into the center of the pitch. Skatadis. Delightfully out to the right-hand side. Quentin Sheng wanting to take on Lewis. He's only really got Benet to throw to. Benet obliges. Back to Skatadis. Mark Warren. Sitting very narrow for a left back. McGing's done that a few times tonight. Little drag back when he's not happy with his right-hand side passing option. Gets away with the foul that time, but every time it happens, Blacktown forwards, that little sniff of an opportunity. McGing's up and under to no one at all. Matt Lewis with all the time he likes to send it back down the other end. Ian McGing having a little bit of a party at the moment. Now it's time to invite some teammates. Matt Lewis comes up to take the throw. Little chest down here, and then the return ball. Still under it. Daniel Bragg now happy to play it back. The ball towards the back stick. The header always rising. Polyak looked like he'd beaten three. There was an earlier foul, I believe, on Adam Berry. Once again, all Sutherland players behind the ball. We've talked about the danger of counter-attacking football in NPL New South Wales this season. Distinct ball. Bodies everywhere. Referee just waves play on. There's about 4 players still on the deck. Dare I say a bit of a head clash as well. Referee hasn't seen it. If he does, he'd be stopping play. Thankfully, that ball is cleared and these players can get the attention they need. And thankfully, they are both up and running. Let the bodies hit the floor, indeed. Just on counter-attacking football, well, obviously they've had plenty of possession this season. Wollongong Wolves, perhaps the finest exponents of it. Rockdale City Suns Also like to play in that fashion. They scored 4 last week against Hakoah. And now Sutherland Sharks changing their system at halftime. Been happy to sit back and push on the break. What a delightful second goal they scored. Mark Warren, half sportingly, returning that ball. It goes out of play for a goal kick, which no doubt Tristan Prendergast extremely urgently wanting to get back up the other end. Lynch up the line, looking for Lewis. Cheng gets ahead on it. Matt Lewis happy enough with that outcome. Every single player, bar 3, in the area as that corner's swung in. For a second time, Denham with a big punch, but it's straight up in the air. Header towards goal! And in fact, squeezed inside. Nathan Denham, initially with the poor clearance, you have to say, straight up. The header skewed off the side, snuck off with the inside of the post. Just like that, this game is back on. Many thanks for the gentleman alongside me, confirming it was indeed Lachlan Campbell with that header. Straight after scoring, jogged right back to his mark. Obviously, he knows the job's only half done, if that. Meanwhile, there's been a foul on Bokalingoy, the offender into the referee's notebook. Henry Davies onto the pitch, like-for-like replacement. Dakota Askew coming off. Is there time for a Blacktown revival? Lewis back to Lynch. Big diagonal. Both players missing the ball. Warren recovering quickest. The comeback goal, more or less out of nothing. Nathan Denham looked like he had it covered. His clearance up in the air even after that attempt. Never looked particularly dangerous, but credit Lachlan Campbell. In the end, the perfectly squeezed header. McGing back defending now. Blacktown staff and fans alike sniffing a more complete comeback. This one's launched back stick. In fact, over Collins. Collins again with the header, this time Denham. Easily gets there ahead of Campbell. Campbell sniffing a double, would you believe it? Perhaps a little ironic. Blacktown, after being so reluctant to cross the ball in that first half, time and time again offered space wide of their attacking box, played it back and across. In this second half, a few corners, a few crosses, a little bit of confusion in the area. They've got themselves a goal back. This is the fourth official signals 4 minutes of stoppage time to come. Berry receives it back again. 3 bodies to aim at inside the area. Denham looks a lot more comfortable when he's coming out to claim it rather than punch it away. Always a tough gig as a keeper. It's your one mistake that will be remembered. So far, it's not costing his side. Clear handball. Mateo Polyak, a bit lucky not to receive a yellow. Everyone's favourite substitution about to be made. Of course, by that I mean Harry Sutherland coming on for the Sutherland Sharks. And another player who, dare I say, has immediately won over his home fans. Jerry Skotadis will spend the last few minutes on the side of the pitch. Sutherland with some important defending to do, no doubt, before this one is done. Prendergast sends it up. The header is off a Sutherland player. It's holding up in what is now a bit of a downpour. The flick header onwards. Just not clear enough as far as Sutherland are concerned. And the strike from distance. Dale Howarth, full of adrenaline, no doubt, but that was not the right call. Plenty of teammates in the box to aim at. This just means as the rain pours down, you'll notice some members on the far side, some pundits heading for pastures more covered. Just allows Nathan Denham and indeed his whole team to slow it all down. They have looked so dangerous, Blacktown City, with some of these crosses and diagonal deliveries. Have they left it a little too late? Lovely footwork initially from Jennings. Unfortunately, the touch from Bragg, not good enough. And then the clearance directly out of play. Is there time left for Blacktown? The cross towards the back stick. It jests down. A wonderful challenge. Mark Warren, who's clearly not at 100% capacity, throws his body in the way. Some of the Blacktown fans may be feeling that he's just milking it, trying to delay the time. We all know that's not in Mark Warren's character. He's just been collected after making that block. Delivery. Hits Lokalingwe. Shouts for handball, denied. And indeed, a foul now called in the favour of Sutherland. A few players unhappy with that. Indeed, a few fans as well. It's been a fast and frenetic ending to this clash. Wet weather just adding to the chaos. Denham gets us restarted. Lokalingwe underneath. Mwando Davis. Bit of back and forth. Campbell. Still backwards and forwards at the end of really a bit of football tennis. Does go out of play. Mark Warren will take his sweet time with this throw-in. Cannot be long remaining at all. Warren down the line towards Lokalingwe. Doesn't find him. Straight back out of play. And indeed, that will be that. Mark Crittenden looks disgusted. His side so close to what would have been the most dramatic comeback, but at the end of it, Sutherland Sharks have held firm. An early penalty finished by Benet was added to. Morphetus getting a goal after the break. Then a Lachlan Campbell header, a perfectly placed header at that, to make it 2-1. Was followed by a barrage of deliveries into the area. A few crosses, a few diagonal balls. It all came to nil. Sutherland Sharks hold firm. They overtake Sydney Olympic for the time being into 8th. Blacktown may even fall out of 3rd position. We'll have to find out. At the end of it all, it's been Sutherland Sharks 2, Blacktown City FC 1.